Okay. Danny, today we're going to make apple cake. It's made with a cookie dough, so I'm going to give you the recipe at first. We have 3 cups of flour. That's unbleached flour. We have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Yeah.
2 level teaspoons of baking powder. 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. 3/4 cup of Mazola corn oil, but you can use any kind of oil you want. 3 large eggs. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that's for the cookie dough. Because sometimes you need a little more flour and sometimes you need a little less. But if we start off with about 3 cups of flour. Now the filling, if the apples are this small, I use between 7 and 8 apples. But I like to use Macintosh because they're sweeter. And if they're not that small, if they're large, you can use 3 or 4 large apples. And with the apples, we're going to put about 4 full tablespoons of sugar that was mixed with cinnamon. And this is the color of what it should be when you mix the cinnamon. It's about a level tablespoon of cinnamon with about 2/3 cup of sugar. That's the filling. And a tablespoon of flour. That's the filling. And it goes into a pan this size. So that's the ingredients.
Sounds good.
Off!
Oh, off. Wait.
Don't focus on me anymore.
No?
Focus on the table.
I'm loading.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we have 3 cups of flour. Now I take half the flour and I put it in the pot because it's easier to mix all the ingredients with half of the flour and then gradually add a tablespoon of flour and then keep mixing. Okay? So I'm going to put in first the salt and the 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay? And I want to mix it so that it all gets all mixed in. Now I'm going to put the wet ingredients. I've got the 3 eggs and the teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to put it in here. Okay, and I'm going to mix. And then I'm going to put the sugar slowly as I mix. Because you want to get all the wet ingredients mixed in with that 1½ cup of flour, and then I gradually add the oil. Now I'm going to mix it until I don't see any more flour. So I don't see the white of the flour. I want to make sure it's all mixed in with that 1½ cup of flour.
It looks good.
You got it?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
It's good?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to keep adding 1 full tablespoon of flour each time, and I'm going to mix to make sure that it's all mixed in. You just keep doing it until you can't mix it with the fork anymore, because when you can't mix it with the fork anymore, then you got to use your hands, and that's a little bit more sticky. You see how I mixed all the flour?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to put another tablespoon. And I keep doing this until I can't use the fork anymore.
That's it? What? Stop.
Turn it off for a while.
So how much flour have you used so far?
Well, I'm going to use the 3 cups that I'm going to add. I'll show you. I'm going to add at least 2 or 3 more in here. My God almighty. And I'm going to put the rest of the flour here. Let me get some flour in here. Let me wash my hands, because I'm going to have to use my hands soon.
Okay.
Okay. You see, I can't use the fork anymore. It's too hard to mix it with the forks, and now I'm going to use my hands, which have already been washed. And I had to add more flour. I added about a little more than a half a cup in here in case I need it. Now, I add the flour. I'm going to use my hands. It's kind of messy. That's why I have the paper towel. And I use my hand. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep adding flour until I can handle it, so I can put it on here.
That's it?
All right, I'm going to put some flour on the table here. My hand. I take the dough. And I may need more flour, I don't know, but I'm going to see. I'm going to try and see if I need more flour. I may not need that much, so I push it aside, just to make sure. When I see it's not sticking on here, then I know I have enough flour, and I'll knead. See that? I keep kneading, and I keep turning. Keep turning. Put a little bit more flour, and you turn it around to the other side. See, it's not sticking anymore?
Yeah.
I'll save that flour for the filling. See, it's not sticking?
Uh-huh.
Now I have to knead it for about 5 minutes. I do it a couple of times on this side, on this side, on this side, all around, and then I turn it around and I do it the other way. I keep doing that for about 5 minutes. I do it for about almost a minute on one side. And I'm going to turn it over. And we have a bowl, and I put a little oil, I have a paper towel, and I greased it with oil. Now I'm going to take the dough, and I'm going to put it first this side, and then I'm going to turn it over, and then, okay, now I take the dough out, and I'm going to divide it into 6 parts, about 6 parts. About. And I have to take each one and then give it a last whatever. Crumble. I have to let it rest for 10 minutes. Because when I roll it out to put it in the pan, I can't roll the whole layer out because it breaks. So I got to do it in parts, and then I patch it up. So I divide it in about 6 parts.
Should I keep recording? Should I keep recording?
And then I'm going to cover it, let it stand for 10 minutes.
Should
okay?
Okay.
I got Crisco here, and I'm going to grease the pan so I don't see any white. See that? Okay? I take one of the balls that was resting, because it's about 10 minutes. I'll just give it a little once over. Now I'm going to roll it out. I roll it on one side. See, I see it's not sticking. I won't need any flour. bottom layer is always just a little bit thicker than the top layer. Sometimes when I do this, it breaks up, so I gotta do it all over again. I get too many holes, and I don't like any holes on the bottom layer. And then I see if I can pick it up slowly. See that? See the thickness? Because I don't want to tear it, because it's the bottom layer I don't want to tear. Oh, that got a hole. I'll patch it up. One hole I can patch up. Now I'm going to put the first layer here. And I want to make it straight. Take this off. Take this off. I gotta patch this hole over here. So I'm patching. Very easy to patch. Just give it a little bit of push. I want to patch this. A little bit of a pat. Got a little piece over here that's too thin. Don't worry, when you patch it, it's no big deal. See, this piece over here is too thin?
Yeah.
Patched it. And whatever I cut off, I just put back here and let stand, because you don't want it to get whatever. That. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this. Wait a minute, no patch. Sometimes, I don't mind, the top layer is easier to do. The bottom layer, you can't have holes. Ah, I hate it. Make sure I get it in my hand before you put the camera on.
Okay.
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 Then I'm going to put it right here. I got too much over here, so I'll lightly cut this. I don't go all the way through. And I give a little bit of a pat. See that? Just a little bit. Cut. Yeah. Looks like the last one to the bottom. There'll be a lot of patching up to do. See, I take some of this very lightly, just the top part. And if anything looks like it's holy, I patch it up. See, this looks a little holy. I take a little bit of this. it's the bottom layer because it has the apples and I don't want it to go through the pan. So I do a lot of patching. I think it's too thin, I'll patch. I want to put that corner, a little more in that corner.
That corner over there has to be patched.
Only because it's the bottom layer, you gotta keep patching up. Okay? Now I want to patch this piece. And put a little more here. A little more here. Because I don't want the apple to go through. Put a little piece here. You don't think there's so much patching going up, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
It looks good.
It's going to be good no matter what.
That's good to hear. You want to play canasta after? You want to play cards after?
Huh?
Do you want to play cards after? Do you want to play cards after?
Oh, if you want to. After we eat. You never think there was that much patching, right?
No.
Because you don't want I told you, I don't want the apple juice to leak through. This is all patched up. See, the bottom layer is done. It doesn't look good, but it'll taste good. Okay. Now, before I do the top layer, I'm going to trim the apple, so turn it off. Okay, I got a tablespoon of flour. And I put about 4 to 5 tablespoons of the sugar and cinnamon that I mixed before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to make sure this is all mixed in, the flour and the sugar. I may want to put more sugar and cinnamon. I'll see the color of the apples later. That. Now I'm going to slice the apples. You don't have to watch me slicing the apples.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. You on the camera? Turn it on.
No?
Okay. Now I'm going to fill up the bottom layer. Now I want the ends to get apple. So what I'll do is take some apples and fill the ends first. The ends. There's a hole here. Hold it. Okay. Try to make it as even as possible.
It looks delicious.
Okay, wait till I get my hands clean.
That's it?
No, wait, I gotta put the top on. I gotta put the gas on.
Temperature.
I'll tell you how much I put it on, okay? I got the apples, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Got to be very careful. Like I say, if it gets wholly on in the top layer, it's no big deal. Ha! Patching up.
Where did you learn to make this cake?
Watching this?
Where
Okay.
did you learn to make this? Where did you learn to make this? Where did you learn to make the cake?
I can't hear you.
Where did you learn to make the cake?
Huh?
Where did you learn to make this? Where did you learn to make the cake?
My own self. Trial and error. See how I try to close it up so it doesn't leak?
Yeah.
That's why I like to make sure there's dough on the ends, because everybody likes the dough anyway. It's like a cookie dough. See that?
Yeah.
Okay? I guess you don't have to watch the rest of it. The rest
Okay.
is the same way until I'm ready to, what do you call it?
Good. Yeah.
Because I want to patch the corners, you know, the ends. That's
Yeah.
why.
That's it?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have enough for a cookie. Wait, I gotta do one more piece. And then I'll patch up whatever I need. Okay, get your camera ready.
Got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay. The last layer. Glue all the ends patched. Put a little piece here. Whoops. Make sure I cover, because I have enough for a cookie dough here, a little cookie dough later.
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle the sugar and cinnamon over. See? And because I put it on the paper, because a lot of it is going to fall over, and I don't want to get this full of sugar and cinnamon. So. See, and there's still a little bit left for my cookies.
Yeah.
There we go. Want to make sure there's sugar and cinnamon on the ends. Now I gotta make holes, because if you don't make holes, the apples will go over. So you gotta make holes.
Or else what?
Huh?
Why?
Are you doing it? Oh,
Why?
because the apples have to have breathing room. You understand?
Yeah.
So you gotta make holes. Now I'm going to clean up the sides. You notice I'm not moving this because there's sugar and cinnamon all over. Okay. It's too much here. Now I preheated the oven to 360 degrees, and I'll leave it that way for about, after it heats up, I'm going to put the apple cake in, and about 3, 4, 5 minutes later I'm going to lower it to either 350 or 355. And then about 10, 15 minutes later I'm going to turn the tray around, because it takes between 30 and 40 minutes for full baking time.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to be very careful how I lift this off here, because it's all full of sugar and cinnamon. Okay?
That's it?
That's it.
Look, there it is.
Wait, now put
Fresh.
it on the table.
Fresh out of the oven.
Wait a minute, right out of the oven. And there's your apple cake.
Looks delicious. Can't wait to